conversation and then carrying it to a level of meaningful discussion can be a daunting task. Do you have communication issues? How to communicate better? One of the most crucial abilities we acquire is the ability to communicate. It guides everything we do. In today's society, communication can mean anything from body language to talking to face to sending a string of emojis. Being a great communicator is one of the most important skills you can have. Our ability to communicate with others effectively is key to improving our relationships and lead to success, whether we are communicating at work to meet deadlines and get things done, or interacting with friends, family, and partner to form meaningful bonds. Poor communication is the root for many problems. While most people understand the benefits of communication, it can still be a difficult skill to use in practice. Many of us develop bad habits with the influence of not being around exceptional communicators, and that gets in the way of effective communication. Without effective communication, a message can turn into error, misunderstanding, frustration, or even disaster by being misinterpreted or poorly delivered. These communication roadblocks must be actively unlearned and replaced with effective communication practices. I will take you through a few points on what's stopping you from communicating effectively and tips on how to improve your communication. Hi, I'm Dhirini Vijayaratna. Welcome to my channel where we'll be talking about topics that will help you to create the extraordinary life you deserve. Communication plays a vital element in every aspect of our lives. It is the process by which we exchange information between individuals or a group of people. It is a process where we try as clearly and accurately as possible to convey our thoughts, intentions, and objectives. Communication is successful only when both the sender and receiver understand the same information. While many individuals still continue to struggle, the inability to communicate effectively will hold them back. That's about just communication. However, effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It's about understanding the emotions and intentions behind the information. In today's world, nothing expresses your personality well than effective communication skills. The ability to voice your opinions is the only skill you need to stand apart from the crowd. Effective communication sounds like it should be instinctive. But all too often, when we try to communicate with others, something goes astray. We say one thing, the other person hears something else, and misunderstandings, frustrations, and conflicts ensue. This can cause problems in your relationships. Being an effective communicator means being able to both actively listen and clearly express yourself. For many of us, communicating clearly and effectively requires learning some important skills. Learning these skills can deepen your relationships with others. But before we look into the communication skills that we need to develop, let's look at what's stopping us from communicating effectively. The first is stress and out of control emotions. When you are stressed or emotionally overwhelmed, you are most likely to misread other people, send confusing nonverbal signals, and lapse into unhealthy reactions. To avoid misunderstandings, you need to learn how to quickly calm yourself before continuing the conversation. Lack of focus is a second barrier. You can communicate effectively when you're multitasking or when your mind is all over the place. If you are distracted, you're most likely to miss the nonverbal cues in a conversation. To communicate effectively, it's important to stay focused. The next identified barrier is inconsistent body language. Nonverbal communication should reinforce what is being said, not contradict it. If you say one thing but your body language signifies something else, your listener will feel that you're being dishonest. Negative body language is when you send negative signals when you disagree or dislike what the other person is saying. For example, you might cross your arms or avoid eye contact. You don't have to agree or like what's being said, but to communicate effectively and not put the other person in the defensive, negative body language should be avoided. Here are a few of my tips to start practicing effective communication. For effective communication to happen, first you need to know what you want to say and why. Clearly understand the purpose and intent of your message. Know to whom you're communicating and why. Ask yourself what outcome you want to achieve and the impression you want to leave. It's not always what you say, but how you say it that counts. Make eye contact. You inspire trust and confidence when you look a person in the eye when you speak. Be aware of your body language as it can say more than words. The way you look, listen, and react to another person tell them more about how you're feeling than words alone can. In face-to-face communication, body language plays an important role. Our communication is made out of 55% nonverbal signals, 38% vocal tone, and 7% words. It means that 93% of your communication does not involve what you're actually saying. Your body language, hand gestures, eye contact, posture, tone of voice all color the message you're trying to convey. Use open body language like standing with an open stance, arms uncrossed, to enhance effective communication. Be an active listener. We also call this as engaged listening. You need to listen and clearly understand the other person's message. Communication is a two-way process. There are many barriers to effective listening. We are easily rewarded for finding solutions. But moving into a fix-it mode before fully understanding the issue can lead to communication mishaps. We often have our own expertise on a certain topic which is being discussed, which makes us talk too much about it. This brings the conversation to a close. This discourages others from sharing information, and without their perspective, we are most likely to make the wrong decisions. We also need to adapt our message in such a way that people who are different to our personality will be more receptive to what we say. Some people are more naturally expressive and comfortable talking, while others are more reflective and prefer time to analyze the situation and think through a solution before coming into an agreement. Listen instead of formulating your reply. Anytime you're in a conversation and are focused on what you're going to say next instead of what the person you're talking to is saying, you're not really listening. You might misunderstand or miss important elements of the message. This can lead to poor decisions. The first key to good communication is giving your full attention. Manage your emotions. Outbursts always lead to communication breakdowns. So it's important to know what your triggers are and respond calmly. Different situations sometimes raise strong emotions. To move communication forward, we must be able to recognize and control our emotions. Avoid trying to communicate when in an emotional state. Doing so will prevent you from losing objectivity and saying something which is inappropriate or regrettable. Ask questions if you're not clear about what someone is trying to tell you. Ask questions to get more information. Try phrases like, "Could you tell me a little more about it?" Or, "Could you explain what you mean by that?" Repeating or paraphrasing the other person is another skill which you need to develop for effective communication. It helps to confirm that you understood what the other person said. If you haven't, ask more questions until you are sure that you got it right. Maintain clarity and concision. Good verbal communication means saying just enough. Don't talk too much or talk too little. Try to convey your message in as few words as possible. Say what you want clearly and directly. There are so many ways to communicate, but it brings down to one tool that every good communicator utilizes, and that is empathy. Those who communicate well understand how to trigger the emotions of the listeners, and the listeners will in return be more receptive. It helps the listener to connect to your message. Using phrases as simple as, "I understand where you're coming from," demonstrate that you have been listening to the other person and respect their opinions. Active listening can help you tune into what the other person is thinking and feeling, which will make it easy to display empathy, respect. Communication will appear most successful when you convey respect for others' ideas. Using the other person's name, making eye contact, actively listening will make the other person feel appreciated. And this is a way which you can show respect to the other person. A good communicator should enter into any conversation with a flexible and open mind. Being open to listen and understand the other person's point of view simply helps to get your message across. Making an effort to see things from another's perspective will help you to achieve greater cooperation, understanding, and respect. Lastly, for effective communication, you need to reach understanding and agreement. Finish a conversation with agreement between all parties involved. Revisit and see whether everybody has reached a common ground, solved the problem, or clarified each other's positions. Everyone should leave with the same understanding of the situation and clear direction on what needs to be done. Make sure that your message has been received as intended and that any concerns have been alleviated. You can even agree to disagree. There is no guarantee that your communication efforts will be met with total compliance and agreement. Summing it all up, the road to effective communication is aiming to recognize and overcome the barriers to effective communication. For most of us, improving our communication skills is an ongoing process. The advantage of effective communication is enormous. How one communicates can be a make or break factor in maintaining healthy relationships and healthy self-expression. One of the most significant effects of effective communication is the ability to be understood. This results in a high level of satisfaction with the other person, which then leads to increased trust. Practicing effective communication will have a positive impact in your life. I hope you found value in this video and that you're one step closer to being the best version of yourself. Thanks for tuning in. See you in my next video. Bye.